following program contains material which may be offensive to certain hypocrites in your family.
Don't worry, you won't get far on foot.
I think it's a fun thing as a cartoonist to be alive in these times of extreme political correctness. I always go back to that theme of political correctness in this culture where you have this group of people that are so determined to control your way of thinking about subjects that they demand that you think about things in their terms, and they impose these correct ways, unquote, ways of looking at things on the culture. And it has the effect of being very smothering and stultifying. It's so ridiculous that now you have, when you put an ad in the paper to let an apartment, you cannot put room with a view now, for instance, because it's offensive to the blind. It takes away all spontaneity and all truthfulness to have to speak in political correct terms. Well, I'm published in about 75 publications around the country, everything from the Chicago Tribune to the LA Times. Still, I think in Penthouse. I do have favorite topics that I use regularly that I think I just follow the social, follow the culture kind of. You see the themes that are out there, like sometimes some of the themes that other cartoonists are afraid to cover, like, I mentioned, eating disorders or divorce or death or disability or sort of the more negative topics that other people are afraid to touch. The people that are most likely to object to my humor, I would say, would be the political correctness crowd. The people that want to put a warm and fuzzy spin on all things. The people who would suggest that my being in a wheelchair would be referred to as differently abled instead of disabled.
This town ain't accessible enough for both of us.
Some people think that if you name a handicapped person, if you refer to them with a term that's warm and fuzzy enough, it will decrease their suffering.
My technique for rectal examination is somewhat different in that I'm gay and have no arms.
And then I have many people who are very jazzed and love my cartoons because they're very freeing. People say, well, thank you for drawing the cartoon about a mastectomy, or thank you for drawing a cartoon about I'm blind, or sudden infant death syndrome, something like that, because it frees them up, because it says that for them. Usually the angry letters that you get, that I receive, are from people who are not afflicted with the particular thing I'm drawing about. I have lots of letters from able-bodied people saying, how dare you make cartoons about disabled people, that's cruel of you or something. And usually when they find out that I am disabled myself, after they commit suicide, they feel very strange. Well, I received a letter one time from a woman in Chicago who was criticizing me for a cartoon I did about disability, and she claimed in the letter that her brother was paralyzed and that it was heartless and rude of me to draw cartoons about that subject, because after all, what would I know about being paralyzed? And so I have never in my life, gone back and I just never bother people with it. I never answer the letters like that. But this time I thought, just for once in my career, I'm going to pick up the phone, track this woman down, call her up, and tell her the facts, that I am paralyzed, and that I do know what I'm talking about, But anyway, whether I'm paralyzed or not, why can't I draw a cartoon about disability?
I'm gonna have to go with prize number 3, Bob.
Being in a wheelchair, it's your world. Being disabled, your perspective comes out in the cartoons. I have this one cartoon where it shows my grandmother feeding me vegetables, and she's saying, and she feeds me another spoonful. She's saying, "You are what you eat." My mother died. Actually, my mother gave me up for adoption. She died a few years later in a car wreck. She must have known she was going to die, but she gave me up for adoption in a convent of nuns. I was adopted by a family who was very similar in background to my mother, who was Irish, and whose full family was from Ireland. They sent me to Catholic schools, and I had many brothers and sisters, to play with. My adopted family was extremely supportive of my work. My father and mother went out of their way early on to support me and my drawing talent, because I could draw cartoons about, even in kindergarten, the teacher came up to my mother and said, "This kid's got a real talent." We could do without the abortion cartoons, but. This is the story I tell about my father, famous haircuts. My dad was cutting really close with that thing. It was like the side of our head was so shaved it felt like a white shark skin. Well, my dad was also a disciplinarian, a very strict disciplinarian, and he used to march us along downtown, and he'd always say, "You settle down or I'm taking my belt off." But he's saying, "I'll take my belt off," in front of this S&M hooker, and she's saying, "All right." Well, I started drinking at probably the age of about 13 or 14, in Catholic school with my little mates, and we used to drink cough syrup. We used to steal the cough syrup from the store and then start drinking. And then we started drinking regular booze and beer. The very first time I drank, I got drunk. After that, I drank anything I could get my hands on. As I got older, my drinking followed a fairly predictable pattern. I was an alcoholic. When I started drinking alcoholic-free from the earliest age, I was really an alcoholic as a teenager, really. I didn't even, in those days, it wasn't thought of as being something that people dealt with much. And as I got into my late teens, early 20s, when I was living in California, the alcohol, it got much more serious and intense, to the point where I had to be, drunk all the time and stuff. And eventually, was riding as a passenger in my own car when the guy who was driving my car was drunk and wrecked the car, and I was paralyzed. It was a good career move. After I was paralyzed at 21 in yet another car accident, my driver and I were both drunk. My drinking only increased. "Hey, there's a $5 bill in my left shirt pocket. Go get me a short case, would you?" It just began to become too much of a heavy burden to continue drinking. And I've been drinking heavily for 6 years after I was even paralyzed. And I got to the age of, I think, 27, and just, one day at home, just completely, lost it. I guess I dropped my bottle and it rolled out of my reach. I couldn't reach it. I just had a complete breakdown of reality, sort of thing, of getting in touch with the fact that it was just the end of the road for me as far as the drinking goes. And it was a very dramatic spiritual moment for me. And I've never had a drink since that moment,
Can you really help me quit for good in just one step?
Hey, they don't call me Dr. Vito for nothing.
What are you doing?
This is the one step. What's the matter for you? You gonna stop drinking or what? Ow! You gonna stop? You stop drinking. You got that?
Well, I've recently been working on TV as a new project, and I really like it. It seems like kind of a logical next step from the publishing and the books, and and I enjoy the role of being the creator of these shows and the executive producer. It's fun. It's fun to work with groups. I mean, I've been isolated as a solitary cartoonist all these years, and it's fun to have a group of people to, whine in front of. They wanted me to come up with a show that would be, a little risque, a little bit on the edge, that involved a lot of the characters I've been drawing over the years.
Tell us about the night Grover was conceived.
Yeah, it was exactly 10 years ago this June. The day was red hot. The kind of hot that gets under a man's skin, makes him all crazy. The moon was full. Everything about it was magic. It was a night of pure animal passion.
That's exactly how I remember it. Except I was out for my morning run when out of nowhere this guy stumbles into my path.
Well, this is a show that isn't, patronizing or walking on eggshells around the subject of disability. I mean, I spent years sort of with my own work and my own, personality, just sort of avoiding all that political correct sort of, mothball stuff about disability. And this show really comes from the heart about disability. It talks about the real things. And these characters are not about to be cured or mollycoddled or anything. And nobody's going to be, putting medals on them or having them, be, role models for anybody. These characters are really down and dirty and regular guys, and they accept their disabilities and they go on to the next thing and try to survive,
Excuse me, I'm looking for a little head.
Well, you come to the right place.
Blazer is a character that comes from also from another cartoon of mine from years ago in a magazine, and he's just sort of this disembodied head on a skateboard, sitting on a street corner begging and stuff. But I think he's cool because how much worse can he get? He's like the worst off guy in the world, but he has a really, really zippy attitude. I mean, he's completely irrepressible, as you see in the film. I mean, in the show, he's completely balls out kind of character, and nothing gets him down, and he's very kind of lascivious, scurrilous, kind of seedy character that's very delightful. Well, Spaulding I based on a kind of a collection, a composite of a lot of my old attendants that have helped me with my disability, and Spaulding is kind of a composite of them. He's cool with his Australian accent. He's kind of a man's man, kind of independent thinker. I associate that with Australians.
Riley, you need a nurse.
The fact is, I don't think I'd be comfortable with you being, as my mother used to say, one of those homosexuals.
Look, number one, I'm a pro, right? Number two, we're all homosexual. And number three, you've got no sensation in your ass anyway.
True. In that case, fine.
The artists, thank God, did not have to paralyze themselves to copy my drawing style, but it went off pretty well. But it's fun to see. Who wouldn't have a good time watching their characters come to life on the screen, It's like a dream come true.
That feels divine.
Turn over, please.
We don't feel like going around and Hollywoodizing this show with the endless political correctness balances between the genders being treated exactly the same, or handicapped people looking as powerful as anybody else, or racial this or racial that. We don't give it a rat's ass on it. We just want to have a show that's funny and have a good time with it, And we leave that stuff for the Hollywood geniuses who know how to shape our lives, the dreary little morons that we are.
honor these vows, or feel the vengeful wrath of his mighty sword as it strikes you down into the bowels of the damned, your womb eternally cursed with Satan's maggoty seed. See you next Sunday.
Well, Sister Butch is taken right out of my childhood. Sister Butch is really one of the teachers I had, one of the nuns I had in childhood, or maybe a composite of many of them. They were either saints or sinners, the nuns I had. They were like monsters or they were like saints. But you feel as a Catholic boy that you never really quite get rid of these certain nun. I mean, this nun had me for a year of my life, in which I had to sit with her at the desk and sit on the bench at recess with her. I was not allowed to play with the other kids. I was the teacher's pet. I had to come in on Saturdays, and it was my desk was adjoined to her desk in the front of the room. She embarrassed me in front of the entire. No one can believe it, but it's true, and it had a strong effect on me. This sort of perversity really strongly affected me, and so, I feel like I should split my paychecks with her.
Okay, there's the front door. Now let's go home.
Riley, you need special help managing your unhappiness.
Hey, I know how to be unhappy. The nuns at school taught me.
Religion is a good topic for cartooning. I mean, it's because religion is so controlling and forceful. I mean, back when I was a kid, that it was designed to really control you and keep you in line. But it went so far over the top that it actually created rebellion, and it actually created creativity because of the intensity. It's like a pressure cooker.
You think blasphemy is funny? Don't you remember Catholic school? God has no sense of humor.
I drew cartoons in the 4th grade. I started drawing cartoons for my little classmates in the 4th grade, and that's where I got my start. And I would draw cartoons about the nun that I resented, And so I would draw compromising cartoons of the nun and curry favor and attention from all my classmates in the 4th grade. And that's how I do it now. I mean, many decades later, I'm basically doing the same thing. Well, I get a lot of inspiration getting out and about, getting around the city and getting out. I like to sit around cafes and overhear people talking privately about their situations, their sex lives, the dirty little things that people have. It's fascinating to me to listen to talk radio because it's so immediate and sort of responsive, And the nice thing about radio hosts is that they're so polarized, and their thinking is so black and white, in order to sell their show, that it's a cartoonist's dream. Because as a cartoonist, I mean, these talk show hosts take you 90% of the way towards a gag, and you just give a couple of switches in your head, and you've got a cartoon. And the radio hosts don't even realize they're bringing you cartoons right and left.
The senator will be in and out the rest of the day.
Sorry, Mike. You just can't hold your liquor.
I was at a concert one time, and a guy came walking up to me with hooks for hands, and he said, "Hey, he says, I want to tell you something." He had a very intimidating look on his face. He says, "I want to tell you something about this business of you drawing these cartoons about people with hooks for hands." And he's right in my face, and I thought, this guy's going to slash a paralytic up or something. But then he immediately lightened up as a change up and said, he says, "I love him." He says, "I cut him out, and hang him on my refrigerator."
Voila!
The most violent reaction is usually usually a feminist or something who's saying, "How could you be so sexist? You sexist pig." You end up, not getting the award for, sensitive male of the year or something. That's about the biggest headache.
Woo! Look at the ass on that bitch!
I never worry about, for one thing, buying new shoes. But for another thing, I never worry about people killing me off, I guess. Besides, if they kill me, I'll just be a martyr.
Don't be a fool, Billy!
My cartoons come out of a place where the rubber meets the road, spiritually, I think. There's no kidding around kind of area. That's why I don't really feel self-conscious about the topics I draw on, because to me, I live them, you know. I try to draw straight from the heart, straight from the spleen, wherever. And whatever comes to me to draw, I try to draw it. I don't leave it to myself to edit these cartoons. I leave it to the editors. That's their job. I mean, if I find the cartoon is drawn more out of a desire for me to get my political baggage or something across, that's probably not very fair. You don't want to operate from a bully pulpit. I think it's fun just to make fun of all things indiscriminately and cruelly and fairly and evenly.
What I meant was, I want to have a baby.
A baby? The B word? It would change the whole dynamic of our relationship.
It would make us grow as human people.
The feedings, the baths, the funny smells. How's a baby gonna get used to living with me?
Ready? Tell me when. That's about one thing I can do. Let's see. In my life is kind of blessed and cursed, both. I mean, very dark side, very sort of blessed side. But I have this situation. I mean, I'm free to come and go all day up in the chair, and I have a cab, and I go maybe to the coast or grab a friend and go down to, the southern part of town or across the river, hang out all day. I just have to think all the time and be making up jokes, making up ideas. But eventually I have to come back home at night and sort of turn back into that pumpkin and sort of go to bed, be paralyzed. And so it's this kind of a sobering thing to have to go back to being. It's like being dragged back, like Cool Hand Luke or something, being dragged back to the farm every night, and reminded, It sounds crass to say it, but it's from the heart, actually. The first thing I would do if I were able-bodied again, if somehow Chris Reeves would touch me and cure me or something, I would stand up and pull my pants down and moon somebody that I wanted. My friend came in, I would moon him or anybody. That's the first thing I do. Moon, the expression to moon somebody. It shows that I'm very superficial, but that's the first thing I do. The second thing I would do is I have a list of people that I'd beat up physically. And the third thing I do is probably, I don't know, go say a rosary on my knees or something at the church.
The implantation went smoothly. Now we accelerate the growth process, and soon you'll have a new body.
The old blazer with a new body? Heaven help the world.
And maybe you and I can go stir up some trouble, because I can walk! Shaboogie, shaboogie. Hey, watch this! Hey, Deb, can I scratch my nose? Ouch!
It teaches a lot of good lessons to be paralyzed. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to the viewers at home, but it teaches a lot of things about self-reliance as opposed to reliance on something greater, and digging deep for your strength and finding strength in a realistic place rather than finding it in, tennis or sex or booze or something, I found strength deep inside myself in a place that's beyond this world, really.